Welcome to Bible Quiz Tube. Ready to challenge your Bible knowledge? We've got 20 tough questions from the Old and New Testaments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your score in the comments. Let's dive into the quiz.
Question 1. Who famously said this in the New Testament? You brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the coming wrath? A. John the Baptist. B. Jesus. C. Peter. D. Paul. The correct answer is A. John the Baptist. The explanation. John the Baptist said these words to the Pharisees and Sadducees in Matthew. Matthew chapter 3 verse 7 says, "But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming to where he was baptizing, he said to them, 'You brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the coming wrath?'" Question 2. We are the group that tempted Jesus by asking him to show us a sign from heaven. Who are we? A. Pharisees. B. Sadducees. C. Pharisees and Sadducees. D. Religious leaders. The correct answer is C. Pharisees and Sadducees. The explanation. Matthew chapter 16 verses 1 to 4 states, "The Pharisees and Sadducees came to Jesus and tested him by asking him to show them a sign from heaven. Despite all the miracles he had already performed, they still sought further proof." Question 3. Which group frequently clashed with Jesus over the traditions and interpretations of the law, particularly emphasizing oral tradition? A. Sadducees. B. Pharisees. C. Zealots. D. Essenes. The correct answer is B. Pharisees. The explanation. Mark chapter 7 verses 5 to 9 says, "So the Pharisees and teachers of the law asked Jesus, 'Why don't your disciples live according to the tradition of the elders instead of eating their food with defiled hands?' The Pharisees emphasized oral traditions in addition to the written law, and they often clashed with Jesus over these practices." Question 4. I was the man who climbed a sycamore tree to see Jesus because of my small stature. Who am I? A. Zacchaeus. B. Matthew. C. Nicodemus. D. Thomas. The correct answer is A. Zacchaeus. The explanation. Zacchaeus, a tax collector, climbed a sycamore tree because he was too short to see over the crowd. Jesus saw him and invited himself to Zacchaeus' home, leading to his repentance and transformation. Luke chapter 19 verses 3 to 5 tells us, he wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. Question 5. Who famously said in the New Testament, "You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead"? A. Jesus. B. John the Baptist. C. Peter. D. Paul. The correct answer is A. Jesus. The explanation. Matthew chapter 23 verse 27 says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean." Jesus used this metaphor to describe the Pharisees, pointing out that they were outwardly righteous but inwardly full of sin. Question 6. I am the Apostle Paul, standing before a mixed group of Pharisees and Sadducees in Acts. I said something that created division among them. What did I say? A. Jesus is the Son of God. B. I believe in the resurrection of the dead. C. The law has been fulfilled through Christ. D. I am innocent of all charges. The correct answer is B. I believe in the resurrection of the dead. The explanation. This theological disagreement diverted attention away from the trial. Acts chapter 23 verses 6 to 7 states, "Then Paul, knowing that some of them were Sadducees and the others Pharisees, called out in the Sanhedrin, 'My brothers, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. I stand on trial because of my hope in the resurrection of the dead.'" Question 7. Which group in the New Testament did not believe in the resurrection of the dead? A. Pharisees. B. Sadducees. C. Zealots. D. Essenes. The correct answer is B. Sadducees. The explanation. The Sadducees were a Jewish sect that denied the resurrection of the dead. Unlike the Pharisees who accepted it, this belief was a major point of contention between the two groups. Matthew chapter 22 verse 23 says, "That same day the Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him with a question."
Enjoying the Bible quiz? Subscribe now for more challenging and fun Bible questions.
Question 8. I was a Pharisee and teacher of the Jewish law who trained the Apostle Paul. Who am I? A. Caiaphas. B. Nicodemus. C. Saul. D. Gamaliel. The correct answer is D. Gamaliel. The explanation. Gamaliel was a respected Pharisee who mentored Paul and was known for his wise counsel. He was cautious about taking extreme actions against the early Christians. Acts chapter 22 verse 3 states, "I am a Jew, born in Tarsus of Cilicia but brought up in this city. Under Gamaliel, I was thoroughly trained in the law of our ancestors and was just as zealous for God as any of you are today." Question 9. Jesus warned his disciples to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. What did this leaven represent? A. Their hypocrisy. B. Their power. C. Their wisdom. D. Their teachings. The correct answer is A. Their hypocrisy. The explanation. Jesus warned about the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees, symbolizing their corrupt teachings and hypocrisy. Matthew chapter 16 verse 6 states, Jesus said to them, "Be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." Question 10. Which Pharisee said, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one could perform the signs you are doing if God were not with him"? A. Gamaliel. B. Caiaphas. C. Nicodemus. D. Saul. The correct answer is C. Nicodemus. The explanation. Nicodemus, a Pharisee and member of the Jewish ruling council, recognized the divine nature of Jesus after seeing his miraculous signs. John chapter 3 verse 2 says, "He came to Jesus at night and said, 'Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one could perform the signs you are doing if God were not with him.'" Question 11. Jesus said that if you love only those who love you, you are no better than which group? A. Sinners. B. Levites. C. Tax collectors. D. The Pharisees. The correct answer is C. Tax collectors. The explanation. Matthew chapter 5 verses 46 to 47 says, "If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that?" ... Single quote. Question 12. Which tax collector promised to repay fourfold anyone he had defrauded after encountering Jesus? A. Zacchaeus. B. Matthew. C. Levi. D. Simon. The correct answer is A. Zacchaeus. The explanation. Zacchaeus, a wealthy tax collector, repented of his dishonest ways after meeting Jesus and promised to repay 4 times what he had wrongfully taken. Luke chapter 19 verse 8 tells us, "But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, 'Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount.'" Question 13. I was an apostle of Christ who was both a Jew and a Roman citizen. Who am I? A. James. B. Peter. C. John. D. Paul. The correct answer is D. Paul. The explanation. Paul, originally known as Saul, was both a Jew by birth and a Roman citizen. His unique background allowed him to travel and spread the gospel in diverse regions while also receiving protection from Roman law. Acts chapter 22 verse 25 says, "As they stretched him out to flog him, Paul said to the centurion standing there, 'Is it legal for you to flog a Roman citizen who hasn't even been found guilty?'" Question 14. Which group of people formed a conspiracy and bound themselves with an oath not to eat or drink until they had killed Paul? A. The Pharisees. B. The Sadducees. C. A group of Jews. D. The Zealots. The correct answer is C. A group of Jews. The explanation. A group of Jews formed a conspiracy to kill Paul, swearing an oath not to eat or drink until they had accomplished their goal. Their plot was eventually exposed and thwarted. Acts chapter 23 verses 12 to 13 states, "The next morning some Jews formed a conspiracy and bound themselves with an oath not to eat or drink until they had killed Paul."
Enjoying the Bible quiz? Subscribe now for more challenging and fun Bible questions.
Question 15. I was the high priest who went to Caesarea to bring charges against Paul before the governor Felix. Who am I? A. Caiaphas. B. Ananias. C. Gamaliel. D. Herod. The correct answer is B. Ananias. The explanation. Ananias accused Paul of causing disturbances and violating Jewish law. Acts chapter 24 verse 1 says, 5 days later Ananias the high priest went down to the city with some of the elders and a lawyer, Tertullus, and they brought their charges against Paul before the governor. Question 16. What is the name of the servant girl who insisted to the people praying for Peter that it was Peter knocking on the door? A. Rhoda. B. Martha. C. Mary. D. Sarah. The correct answer is A. Rhoda. The explanation. Rhoda was the servant girl who, upon hearing Peter's voice at the door after his miraculous escape from prison, excitedly ran to tell the others that it was Peter. Acts chapter 12 verses 13 to 14 says, when she recognized Peter's voice she was so overjoyed she ran back without opening it and exclaimed, "Peter is at the door." Question 17. I was the apostle who was put to death with the sword under King Herod's approval. Who am I? A. James. B. John. C. Peter. D. Paul. The correct answer is A. James. The explanation. James, the son of Zebedee, was the first apostle to be martyred, executed by sword under King Herod's approval. Acts chapter 12 verse 2 states, he had James, the brother of John, put to death with the sword. Question 18. I was the woman who anointed Jesus' feet with expensive perfume and wiped them with my hair. Who am I? A. Mary Magdalene. B. Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus. C. Martha. D. Joanna. The correct answer is B. Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus. The explanation. Mary of Bethany, the sister of Martha and Lazarus, anointed Jesus' feet with costly perfume and wiped them with her hair as an act of love and devotion. John chapter 12 verse 3 says, "Then Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume." Question 19. Which disciple doubted Jesus' resurrection and said, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were, I will not believe"? A. Thomas. B. Peter. C. Andrew. D. James. The correct answer is A. Thomas. The explanation. Thomas, often referred to as Doubting Thomas, expressed his doubt about Jesus' resurrection. John chapter 20 verse 25 says, "So the other disciples told him, 'We have seen the Lord.' But he said to them, 'Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Question 20. Who recognized Jesus as the Son of God after witnessing his death on the cross? A. The Roman centurion. B. Peter. C. Nicodemus. D. Judas. The correct answer is A. The Roman centurion. The explanation. The Roman centurion, who was present at Jesus' crucifixion, recognized Jesus' divinity after witnessing his death and the events that followed. Matthew chapter 27 verse 54 says, "When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed, 'Surely he was the Son of God.'"
Don't forget to subscribe and like to support our channel. Share your score in the comments and join our community and support our mission.